Welcome to our newest episode of Truth Bombs and Bloopers. So happy to connect with you again, Priska. It's been a little while since we had some summer break.
It's forever. It's been forever, seriously. Yeah. And before we go on another I go on another break, we really needed to do another one, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, it's so good to see you again.
It's really hot right now and sweaty, and we try to keep our heads cool. Maybe this episode will be full of bloopers because we're so gaga. Yeah, and we've been talking a little before, and we decided to talk about the subject of how to start your own business, because that's actually the place we both met.
Yes.
At the same time, we were open with the same questions, and somehow we met in the same courses, online courses around how to market yourself, how to have an online business, how to all of that.
It looked a bit like we were stalking each other. We were like, oh, you're there too. Oh, I'm here too. Oh, what are you doing here?
That's true. I think once you are in these circles,
yes, you meet everybody. Yes. And I remember Laura Hollick was somebody I was following for quite a while. She's like this artist woman who has also an online business. And I remember all of a sudden I saw you with her, and I was like, what? What is Christina now doing with Laura Hollick?
And really? That's when I was in Canada with her.
This was when you were in Canada, and I was like, what the heck is she now doing there? And it's so funny because we didn't meet for a very long time in real life, right? We had this online friendship, and somehow we always wanted to meet, and it never really worked out. And then one of your daughters was sick, and like there was constantly something happening. But I remember that I was like almost falling off my chair when I saw you there in one of Laura Hollick's
that's so funny
soul art courses.
yeah. It's so interesting how the online appearance, you can have such a different view of someone. When I was also kind of shy to meet you first, because I also saw you as this, wow, you were so I knew you were also an actress, and you seem, I found you somewhere on many places online. I found you, and then I also found your blog, and I thought you had so much authentic power, and that's what I was really looking for. And I thought, and she's from Switzerland.
That was so cool.
And nobody around here was ever thinking about having an online business in like 2011.
Yes,
I was a complete alien. And
yes. That's true. And it's so funny. Yeah, as you said, like also I was super intimidated by you. I was like, oh my goodness, she's this dancer, and you had all these badass profile pictures, and I was like, oh my God. And I was so like, I really was intimidated meeting you. But then like after 5 minutes, I think this was all from
absolutely. Yeah.
They were like, flop, this is it.
Exactly.
My long lost soul sister.
Yes. Finally someone who thinks the same.
Yeah.
So going back, I think also you started to think about entrepreneurship and being your own boss from a very early age, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, of course, first I just wanted to be an actress. So of course you're self-employed in some way. And when I was an actress, I actually would have gotten a contract with somebody, with an agent, who kind of pimps you to the places, to the TV shows or whatever. But I couldn't sign that contract because I felt like I cannot be, dependent on another person. I don't want to be just, going into these strange series that I don't want to play in, just that he also gets his cash. I just didn't want to do it. And I think this is also when I realized how much my freedom really, really means to me, and how much of autonomy I really wanted in my life. So, I found out quite early without really knowing. But after, like, the acting wasn't really my fit anymore, or I felt like it was just not it. This is when I knew, okay, like I cannot work in a job. I just want to be my own boss. I want to change the world. I think this is where it started. Like I wanted to change the world, and I realized you cannot change the world by working for a boss.
Absolutely. It was very similar for me too. I already realized during school time, when I was training in London, that whenever we had auditions, it just felt wrong for me. I felt like, I wasn't so, I wanted actually to be the one who creates and not really do the parts that someone creates on me. I wasn't so much interested in that. So I did get, right after my school in London finished, I had a contract with a choreographer, which I really, really loved, but then she got a back injury.
Oh.
And I had to come back, and I went to some auditions here, and I just realized it's just not, I want to create, and that has always been there so strongly, and much more than dancing the work of others.
Yes. Like you wanted to be more a creator than just a dancer.
It was for me, it was always about the creative act. Whether that's with other people or on myself, or and that I realized that even now, when I cannot create after like 2 weeks of holiday, I get so restless. I get almost depressed because I feel like I have this constipation, this creative constipation. And you get all these outside impressions, and that's so much beauty, but then I have to do something with it. I have to give it out, and
you have to repurpose it.
Yes. And that's, and also to any other job where I was employed, it just felt really odd. From really the bread jobs where I was working in call centers or fitness centers, or teaching for another, for a boss, or it just always felt a bit odd. I couldn't do it for a long time.
I fully understand. I was bored. Mostly I was bored. And I mean, my CV is like, like from event manager to social worker to like working for a bank as an actress, working for the army as an actress. And I had so many places I've been working for. And I was often just bored because I couldn't see the value in the work. And I had so many ideas, same as you. And I really think many people have that they feel like they're not living their potential. I really felt like I'm just sleeping. I really literally, my being falls asleep while doing this work, because yes, it might be nice work, working, for example, with kids, like giving them family. Of course, this could be a purpose. I totally see that. But I just felt out of place. I felt like I was doing the work that was meant for somebody else.
Absolutely.
And I was misplaced in some way.
Yeah.
And I always knew that I had to actually get out of it. And I remember when I was working as an event manager, this is when I decided, like, some stuff happened there. And then I really was like, okay, I cannot work here any longer. And I quit that job, and I also quit another job because I was also like teaching for a coaching institution at that moment as a coach, or I just taught coaches how to be a coach. And I thought this is my future, but then something happened there too. So I was just, I thought like, I'm going to find something else. I'm going to make it on my own. And this was, I remember I felt such a strength within, like knowing I have to follow my own inner guiding system. I have to choose my truth. I can no longer internally die in a job that doesn't make me happy.
Yeah.
And this is when it all started.
Yeah. Interesting when you said dying inside. Even two bosses told me, you are drying out here, go
Wow.
do your own. Even the bosses told
Wow.
me that. Yeah. They
I
just,
don't want to know how you looked like oh, you must have like the
no, I think it was I was working in a fitness center. Actually, it started that I was teaching some yoga and stretching classes during the summer holidays as a substitute for someone.
Yeah.
And then she really liked me, and she said, why don't you do the fitness trainer education, and then you can work here. And I was actually looking for a job, so I did the training. And I was doing those fitness plans with the people, and I was there at the reception. I was
like a personal trainer.
Yeah, like a personal trainer. But then there was a lot of time where I was just sitting there, and I wasn't allowed to read. So I was basically sitting at the reception, staring at the clients and hoping that these 5 hours
It's hell.
God. Yeah.
It's just hell. I know how it feels.
And then whenever there was a creative job, for instance, during Christmas time, she wanted me to do nice windows and decorate the windows and paint something on the windows, or when we had to create some card for the clients and stuff like that, I was like, oh yes. And
you were blooming. Yeah.
And I remember once she said, Christina, you have to go, you're drying out here. Wow. And whenever she had jobs like that, she would call me long after I was already gone. And the same happened somewhere else where they realized, no, you need to do something with your creativity. You're in the wrong place. Yeah. And what was for you? So for you, it was because I realized a lot of clients and people around me, they know they want to start a business, but they kind of are afraid for that start. Mm-hmm. And what I always say, it's good to have a transition, kind of have a safe 50% job or something that gives you a certain stability while you are building your own. And don't think it's going to be easy. Invest maybe night shifts or weekend shifts, or I was doing that during nights and whenever I could. How was it for you to kind of go from being employed to being part-time employed to being full-time self-employed?
Like, that's interesting question, because I see it a bit like really in steps, some kind of way. Like as you said, like in the beginning, I had a job next to it. As you said, like this kind of having this safety net as well. And all of a sudden, this is what I just said. All of a sudden, my safety net was gone, because and then I was for a while, and of course, this is because I was in Switzerland and I had this privilege. I got how do you say that, social assistance money for a while, because I really was not seeing that coming, that I wouldn't find anything. Because normally I went to anywhere and I just got the jobs, and I just couldn't find a job. It was terrible, and I felt like such a failure. But I was also then teaching Swiss I had like 4 or 5 jobs, that they didn't have to pay me so much because I didn't want that money. I felt like I don't want social, like this money. And I was like really working on my business very hard. And the funny thing is, now I know why I didn't find anything, because just like not even a year later, I met boss and I left my country. So I didn't there, and here in Holland, I found immediately a job. So I worked there for 80%, like it means 4 days a week, in a travel agency for Ireland. And this was really like, it was the worst.
I remember.
It was so bad. Like the boss and I, we were like, it just didn't work. And I think about had such a bold move, choosing my truth. I couldn't work for somebody who did not see me, or I felt so. It's a long story. I don't want to go into it. Anyhow, I just couldn't work there. And this is when I overnight decided not to work there anymore and to really fully bet on my online business. And then I was not actually having zero income anymore because of the whole move. I didn't focus at all anymore on my online business. And before, I had actually in Bern, where I used to live, I had my like real life practice, you know, where I really welcomed people.
You
so
mean
I
a
was
space,
having, a real space, real life
yep.
place. And so I started my online business a bit, but actually where my income back then in Bern still came from was actually from that real life space.
Yeah.
So it was actually just a full leap of faith, you know, like, and I also realized I had to work on my self-worth, because I couldn't charge like 120 euros an hour anymore if I wanted to make a living on my own. So this is when I make big programs for $2,000, like 2,000 euros per 6 weeks, you know. And I don't know why. I think the thing is this: you said about night shifts and hard hours. Yes, I worked a lot, but actually in the end, it went so easy.
Yeah.
Because I think that everything was aligned within me. I knew my worth. I knew that the shit I was teaching was working, because I lived it. I mean, I just left my country. You know, I was also teaching about inner empowerment, finding your inner hero, going for what you want. I literally left my whole life behind me, and I knew what I was teaching, and I was living it, and it worked, because where I was coming from and the brave woman I became, it's just two different personalities in some kind of way. So this is when I had the confidence to really go out with what I had. And yes, of course, it can be hard work sometimes, because you have to see things. I think the hard work is actually just not to give up, because there will always be phases when you feel like, oh my God, it's, you know, especially with technique, that's when I always get like on my boundaries, when technical stuff doesn't work or when I have to figure everything out. But in the end, everything is figure outable in these things. Marie Forleo, thank you for teaching us that. And I think this is what pulled me through. Like, I just Googled, YouTubed everything that I didn't know, learned everything about it, and just did it.
Yeah, let's just make a break there, because there's like three very important points that you mentioned. First of all, it's that trust, and that's maybe more what I was referring to with hard work. Kind of so many people live in the expectation that life is supposed to be easy peasy in the hammock, and kind of things come to you, and we're not willing to go that extra mile, or to Google that extra video how to figure it out, or they're just, I don't know how it's working. Okay, I rather stay in my safety. And that's more what I'm referring to. True. You know, sometimes you need to take that leap of faith, just jump from the cliff and expect that the parachute will open, or kind of, you know, one door closes, 10 new ones open. 100%. And that's always how it worked for me.
100%.
When I had the decision to leave something that was safe for something that I didn't know what's going to happen. Yeah. And the second thing you said was so important about the money story, the self-worth. I think everyone who starts to be their own brand has to work on their money story.
100%.
And that was, I think, that's still something I'm working on, but that's like, I was afraid to ask for anything, for even the smallest amount of money. I sometimes felt how my whole face got red when I asked for the money.
I think we all are working through these money stories, because in the end it's about self-worth, right? Yeah. And this is running so deep, and all the stories that we're having about money, and, you know, rich people are bad people, and, you know, money spoils, or, you know, like, there's so many stories about money. And when we don't, like, then comes the imposter syndrome, then we think, who are we to ask money for this? And, you know, there are so many others that are so much better than we are.
Yeah.
And of course, I think really every entrepreneur has that in some way or the other, and they just have to
go through that. And I think you will always attract those clients who are on the vibration where you are with your own self-worth.
100%.
If you believe your work is not that value, you will attract those people and they will not pay you more than that.
It's 100%. And the funny thing is this, Christian, I think you have the same experience. Since I'm charging more money for my stuff, people are getting such bigger results. Crazy. It's like, because they're so much more invested. They really do the work. They see their own responsibility in the things, you know.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And I have not become a better coach, you know. I'm still, of course I have become a better coach, but then, you know, from the switch from one day to the other, it's not like that I overnight was just, oh my God, I'm now a 5-figure coach, you know. No, it was just, I switched my belief, and I just realized that I was worthy that money, and that the people also were worthy of these results. And I think, especially a tip for maybe people are thinking about or having an issue with that, it's about really figuring out what is the worth that people are getting when they can live that, what you have, you know.
Yeah.
Because what is freedom worth? What is love worth? What is health worth?
Yeah, and it's, you can change people's lives.
Yes.
And I was always thinking of, you know, if you go to a doctor, it's very clear, or let's say a doctor, a lawyer, or if you go into a high-end brand shop, you already expect that probably the bill will be quite high, but it's okay. You already know it.
Yeah.
And from a coach perspective, you, in the end, you are changing lives, which what's the value of that? But I observe it so much that when people are not there yet, if they haven't done the inner work, and the inner work is so deep, it's so layered from the beliefs your parents had about money, how your childhood was, what's the energy of money for you? Is it something you're scared of, or you always kind of, there is so much deep rooted energy around money, and you can sell your work for a very high-end price, but if that subconscious mind is still in those low self-worth patterns, nobody will buy it.
It's exactly how it is.
Yeah. And I've experienced that on my own.
Oh yeah.
You know, when I wanted to raise my prices, and it just didn't fit with where I was and my own belief in my work.
Yeah, it's really a journey, right?
It is a journey.
And just for you, when you became self-employed, what do you think were the most important things that you would also want to give away for others watching this?
I think visibility, working with visibility, being scared to go out and be seen. That was something, whether it was through my art or just to talk into a camera, even to make my face visible was still something I'm working on constantly. I'm more the type of person who would like to hide if I could. Yeah. So and people need to see. I never had problems when I was teaching and being live with people in a room. I didn't have that. I had that more for my online services. Yeah. And then the other thing is, like, really sometimes just risking, or for me it's not risking, it's more like the belief in life that if it's meant to work, then it will work.
Yeah.
For me, the emotional freedom or emotional safety is so much more worth than having the financial safety and working for someone else.
Beautifully put. Emotional safety.
Yeah, because when you are so annoyed every day, and I've been there, when you don't want to go to that workplace, when everything closes inside of you, and you just feel like you're such in a wrong place. That's emotional disaster. That's
It
like,
is. It is.
that's exactly what you said in the beginning. That's like dying in the inside.
Yeah.
And
100%.
that's also a safety. That's also a worth. And I rather have like a little less income, but have this freedom in my heart than this financial safety.
I think that I think this safety, like safety is the big word, right, in being self-employed or having your own business. And I think it's really about the art, finding safety in the unknown, finding safety within yourself, finding safety in trust of life, and knowing that everything will be okay.
Yes.
And this is why I really wholeheartedly believe, next to relationships, because I'm a relationship expert, but I really think that next to relationships, having a business is one of the biggest spiritual practices that we can have.
Absolutely.
To truly trust, to surrender, to walk that path, knowing that you will always be caught.
That's beautiful. Yes. And you have to be so connected with your soul. Otherwise you cannot really attract your tribe and your customers if you're not yourself.
100%.
You cannot hide.
100%.
And I think for me, the biggest challenge in that, and maybe to give hope or to give a reminder, is that it's really the little baby steps we do each day that will over time create big success, mastery, and maybe after a lifetime a genius in the field or the talent that you are. And sometimes, then the comparison comes in, and we look at people who are already there where we want to be, and it's just too overwhelming to look that big leap, and how am I ever gonna get there? But it's like these people have done so much work and put in so much passion and love and devotion, and falling and getting up again, and falling and getting up again, and doing the work and going the extra mile, that they're there now. And
100%.
And for some people that's for a very young age. Maybe they get there young, and maybe they have other challenges in their life, and for other people maybe that's only when they're 60.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Again, I think they're also in business, like comparing is just poison. When we start comparing ourselves with the big names, we always feel like, who am I? And I've nothing achieved. The only thing that makes sense to compare is where you're coming from, to see your own steps, because we all are on such an individual journey. And also, since I'm into gene keys and human design, I even get more how really individual that is. For example, also how you attract your clients really has to do with your gene keys as well, and how you can work through your shadow, getting in your gift, or how you attract money, and so on. So it's for everybody a different story. So it makes zero sense to compare yourself with anybody else but yourself, because you have such a unique soul's journey. So, and again, like, your business is part of that journey.
And showing
100%.
you your own potential.
100%.
If it's not a part of you inside, you would not see this person. You would not recognize it.
100%.
That's why I think jealousy isn't needed, because it's already inside of you.
Yes, it's just about freeing this part within. That's the work. Beautiful. Is there something that you want to wrap this up with? Is there something like a nugget of wisdom?
Another truth bomb.
A truth bomb.
I think, like, really the consistency and the trust, and believing that your creativity, your ideas, your talents are so unique. No one in this world has made the same experiences, has the same cluster of education, has made the same mistakes, and like no one is, there's only one Priska
and Christina.
Yes,
beautiful.
So for everyone who has more questions around starting your own business, and I don't know if you're more concentrated on the relationship part now, right?
Because like, of course, it's always self-empowerment is, you cannot take self-empowerment out of myself. And of course, there's a lot of, we also have, like, all of a sudden in our business, in our relationship coachings, they ask stuff about business because it's also related. It's about also in the end, it's about the relationship you have with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because I still, I'm opening up some new coaching spaces in the fall again. So
yay!
I'm always guiding people through that first fear of starting something, and that's always so the most beautiful thing when they suddenly have a business.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like the manifestation, right?
Yes,
it's like the physical manifestation. And I can wholeheartedly recommend like working with Christina, because I really think you have this incredible ability to really see people and to really see, because it's not just, the normal business coach. It's about really seeing all these layers, and it's about the inner work that you're doing, and on a spiritual level, on a physical level, on a mental level, on an emotional level, and all this holistic approach that you're having. I think this is just amazing.
Thank you so much.
I'm so grateful to have you in my life, and you have helped me do so much of my own personal stuff. So
have you. We wouldn't be here, I think, without each other.
That's true. We wouldn't be here without each other. 100%.
Yes. So anyone who's interested, I'm opening up some new coaching spaces, and you find me on christinasegedi.com or on my social feeds. Yes, just if it resonates, just connect with me.
Yes.
And is there something you wanted to draw the finish line with?
It's not a singing ball for sure. No, I really think everything important, of course there's so much more I could say also about energy work, and about, also in the end it's all about how your energy is aligned. But I think we just have to open up a new vessel for all of that, because it's just a whole new
of course.
And I already heard my pling-a-ling-a-ling, so my coachee is coming up in 15 minutes, so I think we have to, without a singing bowl.
Just
beautiful.
Thank you very much for another inspiring conversation. I hope you get some nuggets, truth bombs out of this, and of course the bloopers will follow.
Do we have bloopers? No.
Let's see.
You always find some bloopers.
I always find some.
Ich muss so bleiben hocken. Warum nicht? Kommt das Ding ab. Nur an diesem Fleck.
Hast du noch schnell jetzt gelimet? Oh, I know it so well. It's all okay. Priska, what are you doing with your arm? I'm just stretching.
I just constant stretching. It's it's a new thing. It's what we do now here. It's in Holland. Everybody does it. Ich hocke hier halbnackt. Ich hoffe, das ist
Ich weiß,
I'm smelting here.
Das ist krass.
Ah, it's getting hot in here.
Hot and so hot and so hot and
Oh, it's so hot in here.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye bye.